Around Kansas, brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Welcome back to Around Kansas. You know, when my friend Michelle Martin and I started working on our book, Kansas Forts and Bases, we just went through a list of all that we could think of off the top of our heads, and we started checking off the ones that we wanted to write about. Well, the one that we had a big fight over was Fort Wallace, out in Wallace County. And if you've never been out to Fort Wallace, they have a tremendous museum. There's a little town of Wallace right next to it. The town of Sharon Springs is not far away, and they have hotel facilities there, lots of great places to eat close by. But of course, this is not too far from the Colorado line. So it's way, way out there, but it is well worth the trip if you don't live close by to head out to Wallace. Now, Wallace is one of those forts that was so heavily involved in the Indian Wars. Of course, as soon as we get finished with the American Civil War, we're fighting Native Americans here in Kansas. So that is really heating up in the 1860s, rather, in that neck of the woods. Now, the railroad had not gone through at this point, 1865. So there is the Butterfield Overland Dispatch, which is basically the stagecoach route that was headed to Denver, and it went through that area. So you've got just a little stagecoach station there. So Fort Wallace was ordered to be built by General Sherman in 1865, and by 1866 they have a fort there. Now, like a lot of those western forts, it didn't have palisades or anything around it. Honestly, it was just a collection of tents and dugouts, and that's the way it opened. They gradually had some more substantial buildings there. But in June of 1867, there's a really important fight there. Albert Barnett of the 7th Cavalry is the commander when they meet the Cheyenne, and it is a fearsome fight, 3 hours long. He lost about 7 men in this battle out of close to 200, but those numbers do not reflect the intensity of this battle. And when you look out at the landscape, I've had the good fortune to walk that landscape a couple of times with Cecil Pierce out there and to visit with folks out at the museum. It's deceptively flat. You know, there are rises and just places that form the high ground you wouldn't expect. And it's really difficult to imagine how that very calm, quiet, except for the wind, place could have been the site of such an incredible battle. But it was really intense, and there happened to be a photographer there that day. So he took photographs of the aftermath of the battle, including the mutilation of a couple of soldiers. That made news all over the country. Most important thing, though, for the first time, the American Army realized what a formidable foe the Native Americans there would be. Where before they had boasted that I can take one trooper and I can whip 10 or 20 or 50 Indians, that day they said 1 equals 1 if we are even equal to their 1. It was a ferocious fight, and just one more nugget of history that is well preserved there at Fort Wallace. Go see them and tell them Around Kansas sent you. We'll be right back.
From the Land of Kansas is a trademark program that helps Kansas businesses grow, produce, process, or manufacture Kansas products. Let's meet Belle Villa Family Dining Restaurant. For great food and legendary hospitality, plan a trip to Belleville, Kansas. Belle Villa is located at the intersection of Highways 36 and 81. Offering a full menu at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, Belle Villa is best known for their mouth-watering steaks. The lunch and dinner menu also includes salads, sandwiches, burgers, and seafood. And don't forget the full breakfast menu too. Their customers say it all. I've stopped here several times and enjoyed it every time. And unbelievably perfect. Best service and steak in 20 years of eating all over the country. Make your next meal special at Belle Villa Family Dining Restaurant in Belleville, Kansas.
Tar Waters has what you need for all seasons for around the farm and home. Working, hunting, growing, feeding, snow removal, even fun for the kids. And a service department with experienced techs to help keep your equipment in top running condition. Tarwater's has a huge selection and the best prices. Tarwater Farm and Home, family owned and operated since 1978. They have what you need.